Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at a combination model between two Barraki sets. This time it is going to be Kalmah and Takadox, and I think I'm just going to call it Tamox or Tamox. I don't know. It sounded nice given the letters involved, but without further ado, let's get right on into it. This guy is the build right here, and I went a little bit out of the way to make sure this was a more different different aesthetic. Originally it was going to be some kind of insect like build, and then I ended up actually going for sort of like this mutant bird thing, which I think is a really cool concept. So obviously very abstract, very different from anything that I've created thus far, but it does have a decent amount of articulation. You can see it has 4 legs on the base of it here, which I think looks great, you know. And all of the legs are structurally basically the same, except the front legs have the armor pieces on the front just to kind of fill them out a bit more. Back legs lack that armor, but all legs in general have the same articulation at the hips, at the knees, and at the ankles. The rear legs are also slightly higher up in the model based on its construction, so the entire model slightly tilts backward, which I really like. It kind of offsets it and it just makes it look proportionally really interesting, but gnarly, like weird in a good way, right? Outside of that, you can actually articulate these wings or arms if you want to consider them that. And so the idea is that these were once wings when this was a bird. Ooh, that's a lot of W's. But outside of that, the arms can actually come together and act as these sort of like mandible-like grabbers, right? You can even pretend maybe these used to be like bones or something. It's a really interesting, a little bit of a scary concept, but I like it a lot. And leaning into the bone aesthetic, we've also got the claws as a sort of ribcage. Honestly, even if you think about it, you could almost see the feet as like talons too. So like, it does have some bird aesthetics, the beak very clearly on the front here as well, but it's just so weird, right? So I really like it for that. The head also has articulation at the neck, though there is no really like other articulation outside of that. It is built around a Paraka arm on the inside here, which can be moved around, but a lot of the body kind of encompasses that piece, so you're not going to get a lot of movement out of it, but that is a possibility for sure. So let me go ahead and take you around the model. You can see a little bit of a tail or stinger if you want to consider it that on the back end here. And seeing as how one of our other models was essentially a mutant crab elephant, I could even see this honestly being both bird and insect, with the large eyes on the front here as well. But yeah, I just think generally it looks really cool. So I made sure to only use glow-in-the-dark parts for the eyes and nowhere else, so that when, you know, it's lights out or this is under a black light, those are going to glow and really prominently be featured, making this model quite striking in the dark, which I think is absolutely great. And it's also fairly tall as well, thanks to those long legs, though the body itself is probably about roughly the size of a standard Barraki body. So I can't imagine it's a lot taller than a Barraki, but given how long these legs are on top of that, thanks to the addition of these mandible pieces, it's still a reasonably tall model. And so I think it works out really well in that way. So yeah, overall a little bit limited in the articulation, but I think that that works in its favor. As mentioned, it's just got a really interesting aesthetic. You could even imagine that maybe it swims underwater now because it can't fly anymore, right? And it's sort of like this semi-undead slash, you know, mutant bird thing. I don't even know. It's so cool. I really like it though. I'm really happy with the design of it. And also, one of the other really neat things about this is that many of the pieces on the set exist in other colors as well. So this would be a fairly easy one to actually recolor if you wanted to do so. These wing pieces obviously exist in the blended white and black. The mandibles exist in white as well. Did not get any toes with white, unfortunately, but that would have been really cool to lean further into that skeletal aesthetic. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for this model. It took only a little bit of time to design, maybe 30 minutes or so, so not too bad. And the bulk of the model is that torso build there. Without the Paraka claws in place, it's a little more hollow on the inside, but I really like the aesthetic I was able to get from them. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you are subscribed. And of course, if you want to build this model or any of the others I've designed so far, I believe this is model number 7, so we're almost halfway there. Then yeah, you can check out my Discord, which will be linked in the description below, my Instagram and Patreon down there as well. You can check out for perks, and instructions for these should be coming soon. So until next time, later.